Is going to be on sharing with you how to leverage Loom.com. So Loom is an awesome video tool creator where you could actually, for instance, if you're meeting with someone virtually and you went over an illustration with somebody and you want to send them an email with the short video, or you can make it as long as you want, but I would recommend something short and simple. You got to think about compliance, so be careful on the things that you do say, because you always have to stay in compliant. And I try to stay away from using any personal information such as socials and things like that. So always keep in mind that whatever you're recording, it could be used in the future, and that client or or somebody can actually have that video. So make sure that you are thinking that in mind, that someone could view it, and so don't say things that you're not 100% on and that are not in compliant. So that's my first little disclosure as we're going into this. But this is a phenomenal tool as you're working with a client and you're going to send someone an illustration. It's pretty difficult if you just send an illustration. There's so many different pages. Where do you highlight, or how does the client make sense of it, or that potential client? So you do want to be able to at least point out certain things by doing a short video, using your pen if you have one of those writing pads. But even then, even just by sharing with you, let me share with you an example. So go to loom.com. You're going to sign in or create an account. It's free. You could do up to 100 videos for free. You could create it by using Google, like your Google Gmail or even your different Gmail. You could do that. So in this case, I'm going to use the free account that I have. I actually have a paid for account, which allows you to email directly, and it's kind of cool because it's got a little video that in motion when you send someone an email. But I'm going to show you both. So go to Google, sign in through Google. It pops this up. I'm going to use my personal one just to show you the personal ones that I used first before I actually purchased the Pro. So it stores the different videos that you create. So here I was highlighting like policy delivery for a particular client when I was delivering a policy for someone that's up in Oregon. As I sent them the PDFs on the email, I also sent them the actual video explaining and walking through and highlighting on the PDF where he needed to autograph and date and explaining it as well. So it's almost like if I was there, right? So let me give you an example of an illustration that I shared with a potential client. Let me hit play. Different illustrations for two different companies. I was going to run another one with another company called North American, but the ones that I'm sending you now, in my opinion, hands down, I mean, they're two totally different strategies, similar as far as the chassis. So here in this particular case, if you notice, I split screened. I did an illustration with NLG and I did one with Allianz. So I had them both next to each other, and then I did a comparison, and I was highlighting the key features on NLG, highlighting the key features on Allianz. So that way, when the person opens up each PDF, they could follow along with the video and they know what to look for. So it's a great tool, again, to do some explanation, not just leaving it up to your client to try to, do it, read the illustration on their own, because it could be confusing. So let me go ahead and create a video. So I'm gonna go to new video. So it pops up this little screen on the side. I'm gonna create one right here on the fly. You could actually use a photo on your screen, or you could use the video. I'm gonna go ahead and use the video, and it pops up these little recording tools down here. You could have the control, because I have the control features. I could turn them off, so I don't have them down there. I'd rather leave them on just so that I could stop it when I'm done recording. I'm gonna have a countdown, so when it goes off, I also picked the mic. I have a Jetty, a mic. This is me personally because I want very clear. You don't have to have that. You could just use the one on your computer. I would suggest if you have little ear pods or earphones, they'll sound a lot more clear. So it shows here the microphone, how it's picking up, which is strong. I could also choose to do screen whoops, what to skip for now. I could have it just do the screen only, do the camera. So for this sake, I'm gonna just do screen only because I'm already obviously recording this, so you could see me down here on the video. So let's go ahead and start this. It's pretty cool because it's gonna start to I'm gonna record the entire screen. You could even choose an application itself or the entire screen. For the sake of just showing you as a practice, I'm gonna go ahead and share the entire screen. I click on that. hit share. Now it's doing a countdown, which is pretty cool. So now this is officially now recording. So I could actually go through, I could say, hey, look, let me share with you a PDF that I created for you, or let me show you a website. Let me go to, say, allianz.com. I'm going to go ahead and run an illustration with you. So it's recording everything that's happening on the screen, which is pretty cool. And it's highlighting everything I click on. So let's just say that I'm going to create something on the fly. I wouldn't suggest that. I would rather first create it and then show the PDF. So let's just say I go to illustrations. I'm just going to use a random person that's here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick view. Notice it's actually recording here. So it's doing, it shows my picture now because I'm using the screen here, which is interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. So let's just say I'm explaining this particular case with this client. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to highlight and say, hey, look, you're putting in $100 a month. The policy's coverage is $205. So I could go ahead and run through all that scenario and point out the highlights. I could create the report, and then I could go to down at the bottom, and I could say, hey, I want to preview the report so that I can now highlight the report. And this is really what I'm getting at is literally anything that's on the screen, I could be explaining to the individual. And if I'm going to be highlighting this particular Allianz case, I'm going to say, hey, look, this is hypothetical returns that if you average a 6.9%, if you did this for X amount of years, based on the way we run it, you're age 25. If you did it for 34 years, then this is how much you're going to expect to receive, approximately close to $11,000. If you only earned a 6%, then this is the approximate amount. I could go through the actual slides. I could share about the different caps. In other words, I'm going to highlight the illustration. So this is a great way to highlight not only an illustration, but to highlight a point that you're trying to make with the individual. Let's just say I close this out now. I'm done with this. Or maybe I'm trying to share with them a concept that I'm sharing with the client has. Maybe I'm going to manage these here. I'm going to go to, whoops. I'm going to move over to a different, I'm going to use my difference one because I want to share with you guys a slide. I know that an agent today was asking me about a slide that she wanted to share with a client or a potential client. So I'm going to go to my slides. So we're also you're going to be able to go into the back office and download presentations, but let's just say that I'm going to share a concept. So I'm going to go into this particular one. Someone wants to know a comparison, like, oh, I want to compare, like, how about my 401k compared to what you're sharing with me, like the IUL. So I'm going to go ahead and move to a particular slide. Let's use the speed for a second as it's going through and processing. So let's just say I'm going to do a comparison here. I'm going to go ahead and go into presentation mode. So now I'm going to highlight the different phases as I'm comparing, during the contribution phase, the accumulation phase, the withdrawal phase, the transfer phase, and I'm going to compare a 401k with an IUL. So as I'm walking through the concepts, I could be explaining the concepts and I'm recording myself. So the key thing again is you could record and be talking to the screen as you're sharing a concept or an idea to a client and say, hey, look, once you view this, please go ahead and reach back out, or I'll call you back, later this afternoon and follow up with you. So it's a great tool for you to communicate with someone remotely from your home, from wherever you're at in the world, to be able to share with them a concept, to be able to share with them and highlight the illustration that you ran for them, or to do a comparison. It's another communication tool, but it's pretty powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. So let's just say that now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to go back to Loom. Let's just say I want to email this to somebody. So I'm going to click on this particular comparison. I'm going to copy this link. You see that? It's pretty simple. I copied it. I'm going to go to my Gmail. I'm going to go there as it's popping up. So let's just say that I'm using my Gmail and I'm going to create right now this email. This is running really slow, guys, so bear with me. So compose, I'm gonna go compose an email. I think it's taking up so much of the bandwidth with it streaming and recording at the same time. Normally it's a lot faster, but it's okay. So this pops up right here, assuming this was my business email, but I'm using my personal one just for the sake of this. Let's say I'm gonna send Julian an email. And I'm gonna put, hey, illustrations, comparisons, right, that we discussed. Put like, call me once you view them. So I'm gonna type in whatever it is to the client, say, hey, here's a couple examples of illustrations, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna say, click on the link below. I put a little video together for you to take a look at. So it actually puts the image here, which is pretty cool. So it looks very professional. It already does it for you. All I did was cut and paste the link and boom, this appeared, and I actually put the title of it. So you want to give it a title, say, hey, the person's name, NLG versus say Allianz, or example. So once you send it to that person, they're going to go ahead and receive this. And what happens when they see this little video? They're going to want to click on it. So when they click on it, it's going to obviously take them to Loom. So I'm going to close this out. It's going to actually take them to this video here, exactly the way it looks here on the screen. So when they hit play, it's going to do that. You could even have a call to action happen where you could actually send them to a particular site, or you could just send them to a link to set up an appointment with you. So there's a bunch of cool little tools. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, where you want to do calls to action and you want to modify your videos, you go to more here, and you go to Explore Pro. I would suggest first start with the free one because you could get up to 100 videos. It's very easy to use. You don't have to, there's no cutting and pasting. There's no editing of any type. It's recording all at the same time. You could choose to not record your face and just to record the screen. I suggest record your face so that when you're talking to them, at times, if you want to make this a little bit bigger, you could actually go here and say, hey, I want to make this bigger. You can move it and you could say, hey, look, right now I'm just talking to you directly and I'm going to describe whatever concept I'm talking about as I'm speaking, and it's recording. And now I could just move it down here back in the corner or put it wherever I want. So as I'm speaking to them, they can see me directly talking to them. You see that? You could also go and say, hey, I want to make this a lot bigger. So now I'm going to talk to you directly and do the same thing. So if I click here, let me go ahead and get back out. Whoops. Stop sharing. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Click there, make it smaller again. So either way, again, it's pretty easy tool to use. You can navigate here. I can make this a lot smaller. I could just show my picture here. I can make it a little bit bigger. Depends on what you're sharing on the screen if you want to pull it over and move it wherever you like. So the other